let's find the zeros for this function. So the first thing that we're going to do is we let y equal to 0, right? So we have 0 equals, so this, you let this equal to 0, and then that would tell you the zeros of the function, whatever the x values are. And this is x squared plus 3x plus 2. So now we have to factor this guy. So let's factor this polynomial. And we'll have x and x, right? We remember from our factoring tutorials. And then we'll have, we know that the product of the last two numbers have to be equal to 2, but then the sum of them have to be equal to this middle coefficient. So then 2 times 1 equals 2, and 2 plus 1 equals 3. So this has, it's plus 2 and plus 1, right? And we actually factored this exact polynomial in one of the previous tutorials. So, okay, when is this thing going to be equal to 0? Well, it's whenever each of these respective quantities is equal to 0. Because look, what happens if this term is equal to 0? Well, then everything's going to be 0. So if x is equal to negative 2 plus 2 gives 0, so that means this thing will be 0, it means everything is 0, so that would satisfy it. So what you do is you take each of the individual quantities and you set them equal to 0, and that will give you a 0 for each. So for the first one, let's come over here to the side. We'll set x plus 2 equal to 0. X plus 2, not equals 2. X plus 2 equals 0, and then subtract 2 from both sides. X equals minus 2, right? So that's 1, 0. And we talked about that earlier. We talked about just, thinking about something that would plug in to make that 0, right? And think about this one. What could you plug in here that would make this whole thing 0? Negative 1, right? It's not always so obvious, but well, anyway, first of all, negative 1 plus 1 is 0, right? And it's not always so obvious, and so this trick of, this formality of actually taking a thing and setting it equal to 0 is a good formality to get into accustomed to doing, right? So accustomed to doing. So then we have x plus 1 equals 0, and then minus 1, and then x is equal to minus 1, right? As we concluded a moment ago. And so those are the zeros of the function. That is, those are the things that will make this function equal to 0. And you could test it out. You could plug them in up here. Let's try negative 2. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. Plus 3 times negative 2. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Plus 2, 0. Right? So, and you could try it for the negative 1 and it would work as well. I will step to the side and give you a clear screenshot. Try it for yourself.